What up, family? I'm coming at y'all with a quick chart markup video. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be very simple. It's not going to be an advanced chart markup or anything. So any of my beginners, this video is for you. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go over the basics on how you can mark up your charts. We're going to identify trend lines, support and resistance, and then talk a little bit about how you would place a trade based on market conditions, family. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of town right now, but the grind don't stop, the work don't stop. I woke up and traded today, you know what I'm saying? And so the grind don't stop. Let's get to it. I'm gonna hop right into my computer, and I'll see y'all there. All right, family, we on the charts now. I got my NAS 100 up, my indices, because I trade indices. Feel free to pull up whatever pair you want to, but if you want to follow along, pull up NAS 100, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to start to mark this hell up, you know what I'm saying? We got it on the 1 day, because that's how I usually like to mark up my charts. I like to do top-down analysis. If you want to learn more about exactly what top-down analysis is, I could make a whole video on there, or you can find somebody else's video on YouTube about top-down analysis. But it basically is starting from the top and working your way down. So we're going to start on the daily chart, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to identify trends and support and resistance. All right, so right off bat, family, we got our low right here. So this is where I would put a, hold up, let's get our tool. So this is where I would put a support zone. Right down here, family. Right down here. And the way that I do my zones is I'll start it. Here, let me zoom in. All right, family. I'll start my zone from the body of the candle. So right here, where I have my arrow, that's the body, and then it goes into the wick. So I'll start it from the bottom of the body of the candle, and then I like to have it go up for at least half of that candlestick, family. At least half of that candlestick. Now, it's not going to be perfect. You can't get it the same every time, but just know you're starting from around the bottom of that body up into about half of that body. So now we have our first resistance, our support zone. Support and resistance are basically the same thing. One is just on the top, one's on the bottom. But so we have our support zone marked here. Now let's find some resistance zones. Like I said, support and resistance are basically the same thing, but support's on the bottom, resistance is on the top. So we just marked support on the bottom, we marked the low on the bottom. Well, if I was gonna go and mark resistance, I would probably find it somewhere.
As you get ready for what's next, you think about what really matters and what it means to be connected to everyone around you, to your community.
Around here, family, to be honest. We have a peak right here.
And custom gear from Custom Ink can help.
We have a peak right here, but it's also touching if we were to make the zone here. Let's put it
together now or still apart. Custom Ink has hundreds of products to help you feel connected. Upload your logo or start your design today at customink.com.
So we did it off of this peak right here. But the reason why we know that this zone is solid, why this zone is probably going to work, is because if we look over to the left, it touched our zone right here. It touched our zone right here. It touched our zone right here with this little wick. Shit, we could even go back and see if it continued to touch our zone. You know what I'm saying? Let's pull it back more. See, it touched again here. Touched again here. So, yeah, family, that's how you know if your zones are solid. You know what I'm saying? And if you could be confident in them is if you go left on your chart, does it continue to keep touching that zone? If it doesn't, that means that's a valid zone. So now we marked up our support and our resistance zones. You know what I'm saying? And you don't only have to do 2. We can do more. All right, family? Let's try to find another zone. It's easy to find zones at the peaks and at the troughs, like at the peaks and the troughs, like we talked about in my master class. You can find those because that at the support and resistance, that's where price wants to turn around. So if you find a peak or a trough, it's most likely going to be a support or resistance because price went there and it didn't want to continue no more. It created a reversal. And so I would go to even this peak. It came up to this area right here. It didn't want to go up anymore, so it started coming back down. So family, I would make this another resistance right here. Now this is only one area that it touches, so this resistance isn't that solid. But what we could do is what I just taught y'all. We're gonna move it left and see how many times did it touch this line. Is this a solid resistance line that we just made? Well, shit, I see, bang, it touched right there once, it touched right there once, bang, right there. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if we could go back more and get some more touches. See if we can get some more touches. All right, it touched right here. Family, right here. Family, right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's more where it touched. So these zones that we just drew, I'm confident in these zones because we drew them and then we looked left and we saw 3, 4, 5 times where it also touched that zone. So now I know in the future when I hop on the charts and I'm trying to place my trade, prices coming to these zones. I can use these zones to help myself get in and out of the market, family. So now we did zones. After I do my zones, family, I want to mark up my trend lines. Now people do their trend lines different, and you have to figure out what works for you just by practicing and just by having time in the market. You know what I'm saying? But for me, family, you could see, let's scroll in. You could see that we obviously have a downtrend if we started from up here and worked our way down. We're in a downtrend. Now the way that I marked this trend line is it's all about the peaks and the troughs, family. Those are important. So I took my peak of peaks, you know what I'm saying, the top peak that I could find, which is right up here, you know what I'm saying, and I'm connecting it to the other peaks. Now family, if you took my master class, you already know how to identify trend lines. You know what I'm saying? Now this is just putting it into practical knowledge, bringing it to the actual charts. It's the same thing as the master class, family. We got our higher highs, and then it gets to a lower high, and if it kept going, it would probably be a lower high again. But family, the idea is to connect these lower highs, and then what do we get? A downtrend if we're connecting lower highs. So we connected this one high, then lower high, and the lower high, we connected 3 in order to create our overall downtrend on the daily time frame. Okay, that's our overall downtrend on the daily time frame. That's something to remember. But family, what I also like to do is I like to identify the current trend, because since we're on a daily time frame in a downtrend, that doesn't necessarily mean we're trending down right now. We've been trending down for the past, what? This was since December. So since December, we've been trending down, but that doesn't mean for this particular day, the market is going down. Yeah, it's lower than it was in December, but that doesn't mean it's not higher than it was yesterday, if that makes sense. So we want to identify the trend that is current. So we just did all of that, but family, once we zoom in, I like to look and see, okay, well, if I find my lowest low, which would be right here, well, there's nothing going lower. So to me, currently, we might be in an uptrend. We might be in an uptrend currently because our low is right here, but we're creating higher lows. And family, like I said, for those of you who have watched my masterclass, you already know how to mark these trend lines. You know what I'm saying? You already know that this low is getting higher and higher and higher. So therefore, we're in an uptrend, family. So we marked our overall trend, which is a downtrend, and our current trend, which is an uptrend. So since they're contradicting that our overall trend is down and our current trend is up, that means we want to be very careful, family, with our trades that we're going to take, because the overall trend is down. So that means we could take huge plummets down at any time, even though we should be looking for buys today. So this is where it gets tricky. And that's why we do top-down analysis, because family, remember, we're still on the daily time frame. Let's see if we go down to the 1 hour time frame. If we go down to the 1 hour time frame, family, we can see, and especially for my beginners that never saw TradingView before, we still have our zones that we created on the daily time frame. They're still here. And then we have our trend lines that we created. But each candle is now worth 1 hour instead of being worth 1 day. So now our zones are bigger. So we might want to create some more zones. Because if we look now, look, we're in between this zone here and this zone here that we created on the daily time frame. But since on the daily, each one of these candles is worth 1 day, there's so much more time and space that we can see when we go down to the 1 hour time frame. So now that we're down on the 1 hour time frame, let's see what we got. So to me, it still looks like we're in a current downtrend because we're still following our trend, which the trend is not going to change from time frame to time frame. You could just get more information on different time frames that you go on. This is still that peak that we saw on the daily. I could even try to mark it for you guys.
Nothing's happening on March 4th until I saw a Super Bowl ad for a new streaming service which launched on
Look, this circle, this is still our peak we saw on the daily, because look, if we go back to the 1 day, if we go back to it, we have this circle here, which is the peak that we just made. You see it? We just made this on the 1 hour, but it's also on the 1 day. It comes up and hits, so let's go back to the 1 hour. And there we are. So everything correlates. You're just able to get more information. As we saw on the 1 day, we had one candlestick in here, but when we go down to the 1 hour, we get to see the hourly breakdown of that 1 day candle. And the further and further you go, that's the further and further it breaks down. If we go down to the 15-minute, we would get 15-minute breakdowns of each of these hourly candles that we have. Anyways, back into our markup. With that being said, now we're on the hourly and we're doing our top-down analysis. So we went from the day to the 1 hour. Now we're looking at the 1 hour. You don't have to mark up on every time frame, just the ones that resonate with you. I like to mark up on the day because it shows the overall direction for the day. Then I like to go to the 1 hour because it shows the direction for this hour and for the previous hours that we went through. You know what I'm saying? So it looks like, to me, the current trend is an uptrend, because if we go to the lowest low that we have, there's nothing going lower. Every low after that is higher and higher and higher. So if we're creating higher lows, family, and we're in an uptrend. So our current trend is still an uptrend. Current trend is still an uptrend. Our overall trend is a downtrend, but our current trend is still an uptrend, family. So now, after I go to the 1 hour, I like to just skip right down to the 15 minutes. 15-minute time frame. Let's spread it out. Let's spread it out. Let's spread it out. So, we still got our trend, and it's still going in an uptrend. And we don't even need to mark another trend line for the 15 because our trend line is perfect still. It's right here. It's touching and going up, touching and going up. You know what I'm saying? Touching and going up. So we're going to keep that trend line. But what we're going to do is now that we're on our 15 minutes, we're going to see if we can mark some more zones, some more support and resistance zones. And one thing I want y'all to remember, family, is so we marked this big zone on the 1 day time frame. We marked this big zone on the 1 day time frame. So those zones are going to be basically more permanent, more definite zones, less risky zones, okay, because they're on the daily time frame. The zones that we're about to make on the 15-minute time frame, family, are going to be a little bit more risky, just because when you go to the lower time frames, things they tend to be more volatile. Things tend to be more uncertain on the lower time frames. And then when you can confirm them on the higher time frames, then you have a bit more certainty about the direction of things. So if we're touching this top zone right here, then yeah, I would definitely start looking for a sell, because we've shown that when it gets to this zone, it likes to sell. Now, I wouldn't just get to the zone and then click sell. I would get to the zone and see what's happening. But if we're getting signals that's showing that it's going to sell, then yeah, I'm probably going to sell when it gets to this zone, especially because we made it on the daily time frame. Let's start making our zones on the 15.
I'm sorry for wasting everyone's time. I don't know why I believed them when they said they had vaccinations.
Okay?
I don't know why I believe anything anymore.
And everybody's zones ain't gonna be the same. It's just all about being able to find the lows and the highs. Find areas where price has touched multiple times, because then it's likely to go back there again. So I would make a zone right here because this stands out to me. This stands out to me. It shot up and it shot down. That means resistance. That means resistance. If it shot up and then it shot down, something up there is giving resistance to price where it's not gonna just keep shooting up. You know what I'm saying? Something is making it go back down. Okay, resistance. So that's why I'm marking this right here. And then, like I said, once we mark that zone, we want to pull it over and see if we have other areas where it touched, to make sure this zone is solidified. You know what I'm saying? So we pull it over. And sometimes you might have to go on to the other time frames, because it might be just too far in the past that it would have touched that zone. So you want to go on to like the hour or the daily, so that you're not scrolling forever to just find that. But as you can see, family, we did touch here once, twice, to my zone. Down here, these aren't necessarily touches, but they got close. So that's all about like how big are you making your zones and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, family, we can go ahead and say that this is a solidified zone. It touched this area 3 times. And when I would say that a zone is solidified is if it can touch it at least 3 times. Same thing with the trend line. If you can touch it at least 3 times, that's a trend line. You know what I'm saying? So while we mark the zone right there, mark the zone, and we just did the resistance, so let's do the supports. You know what I'm saying? This is the top. Let's do the bottom. That's how you do it. Resistance is the top. Support is the bottom. So now let's pull it over, see where we get touches. We got one right there. Family. 2, 3, you know what I'm saying, multiple touches. So these are good zones that we just drew up right here. Zone, we got our trend line. Now we're going to get down into the 5-minute time frame. Now, the 5-minute time frame, this is where I place my trades. I place my trades on the 5-minute. I do my whole top-down analysis from the 1 hour or the 1 day to the 1 hour to the 15, work my way down to the 5. Once I get to the 5, I do one more analysis, and that analysis is to analyze where I want to get into the market. So now you guys have identified the trend with me. You know what I'm saying? We know that the trend overall on the daily time frame is a downtrend, but we know that right now the market is trending up. So we know currently the market's going up, but we want to be watching out for the case that the market could just plummet and go back into its overall trend. You know what I'm saying? So right now we're in an uptrend. As you can see, we're on our 5 and we're in our uptrend. You know what I'm saying? Now we want to see where our zones is at. All right, well, we got a big ass zone right here from the 1 hour, but that zone is kind of huge because it's from the 1 day. So I want to see if I can get a smaller zone going so that I can get an entry into the market. You know what I'm saying? So basically, family, I'm gonna just drop some sauce on y'all. Like, this is what I would do if I was looking at this chart right now and I was trying to place a trade. I would be like, okay, I see it's going in the uptrend, up, down, up, down. It's going in the uptrend. This is the high, created a higher high, created a higher high. So it's an uptrend. I'm looking for buys. Off rip, family. I know I'm looking for buys. I just cut out 50% of possibility because I know I'm not looking for sales. Throw those out the door. Like, there ain't no sales happening right now because the market's going up. So that's first things first, family. We're looking for buys. Now you can see, and today is Sunday, so the market's not open, it's not moving. But you can see the last full candle that we had was a red candle. So I wouldn't be entering the market right there, family, because I'm looking for buys. And this candle is a bearish sell candle. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting until the market is telling me, all right, it's time. We're about to shoot up. I'm looking for a buy. So the way that we know that is from candlesticks, candlestick patterns. And if you don't know about candlesticks, candlestick patterns, get on it, buddy. Get on it, buddy. Facts, because you're going to need that. Like, that's a lot of what trading is seeing these candlesticks and being able to understand, okay, this candlestick means the market is going to reverse. This candlestick means the market is going to continue. So learn up, study up on that, on the candlestick patterns, because if I was seeing this here, the way that I would know to get into the market is by having a candlestick that's giving me a bullish signal. Family, if you don't know which candlesticks give you bullish signals, like I said, study up, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Learn them candlesticks. I'll give you one, for example, is a bullish engulfing. So if I see this next candle here go up and completely engulf this candle, oh boy, you better bet on buying that bitch. You better bet on buying that bitch. You know what I'm saying? So it's straight like that, family. Chart markup, it could be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. As you can see, family, I didn't put up no indicators on this. No indicators. So if people are telling you that you need this indicator or buy that indicator, no, I don't even trade with indicators. I trade straight trend lines, straight support and resistance, straight price action. You know what I'm saying? You don't need none of that. It's all in here. All in here. All in the chart. So if you have any questions, family, you want me to elaborate more on anything, you know what I'm saying, click the link in my bio. I'll be happy to sit down with you and help you understand more about these charts. We could sit down on the charts, literally pinpoint candles that you want to talk about, trends that you want to talk about, things like that. But I just really hope that you guys took a lot of value from this video and you're able to go on and mark up your own chart, identify your own trends, identify your own support and resistance. And if you're able to do that, then yeah, you took a lot of value from this video. Like I said, if you're not able to do that, hit me up, you know what I'm saying, and let's get you together so that you could actually place trades and start making some money, family. So yeah, I love y'all. Peace. Like, comment, subscribe, all that dear. You know what I'm saying? I'll see y'all in the next video.